I just literally kept living off food bank. Yeah, I'm glad I don't live off it anymore. It's actually, it gets tedious. That middle point of leaving the family home to get to this point has been like the worst.
At present, less than 6% of people with a learning disability and just 15% of people with autism in the UK are in paid employment. That was 22-year-old Shauna-Louise. Both her and her twin brother Stephen live in Cornwall and have Asperger's syndrome, but Shauna is also dyslexic and has a condition which makes her sensitive to light. Shauna, who identifies as transgender, has also experienced some mental health issues, including anxiety and depression. In this podcast, we'll be talking to the twins, looking at the challenges they have faced in finding paid employment. My name is Danielle Mendel, and this is a podcast from United Response. We're a national charity which supports people with learning disabilities, autism, physical disabilities, and mental health needs to live the lives they choose. A big part of what we do is supporting people into work. In the winter of 2016, the government brought out a green paper called Improving Lives, which looked at ways to help close the disability employment gap. In response to the Green Paper, we talked to people we support across the UK to see what they thought were the biggest barriers preventing them from getting into work. This podcast is the story of Shauna-Louise and Stephen. They are currently doing a supported internship programme with United Response, which aims to teach skills and provide experience which will put the twins in a good position to apply for jobs. Specialist employment support like this is crucial to getting more people with disabilities into work. When I met them recently, they both seemed happy and optimistic about the future. However, the journey to this stage in their life has not been easy. Their troubles first started when they entered secondary school.
Yeah, absolutely like that. I went in the hospital several times from bullying. It was just mainly being bullied and not getting on with many people. Overall for me, it took me getting the police involved for it to actually stop, because the school wouldn't do anything at all. They kept talking to the students. The students kept getting worse, and it was just a vicious cycle. And right at the end, rather than just going through my normal time of not telling a teacher, I'll let it go, fly over my head, I punched the guy in the face. I was like, I ain't taking it anymore, and just put it on the ground, and I was like, yeah, I ain't taking it anymore.
As well as bullying from their peers, Shauna and Stephen struggled to find support from their teachers. Shauna describes the sort of scenarios which were commonplace for them.
One time they gave us these books to read. It was black and white, and for me, literally, the words went off the page. Couldn't see them. I got told that I was stupid, and that saying, oh, that's not dyslexia, you're being stupid, you don't actually have dyslexia, you just need to get on with your work. I ended up standing up and I told the support to go do one. Politest way to put it, even though I didn't say that.
Talking to the twins, it seemed that a lot of their problems, both the bullying and the lack of support from their teachers, stemmed from having a late diagnosis of their Asperger's syndrome. Their statements of support needs failed to follow them from primary to secondary school.
Do you think it would have helped for your school to have known that you have Asperger's? Do you think it would have helped to have had
Yeah, if it was diagnosed early on, I think it would have helped school life. But because, like, when we went from junior school, infants and juniors, we had help. We had the one-to-one support there. But as soon as we transferred over to secondary school, we actually we lost our support. So as soon as we went there, we didn't have any support. Going on from what Sean just said, we were statemented, and then as Sean said, from the transition from going from juniors over to secondary school, they had the statements, but apparently they were lost while we were being transferred over, and in a result to that, we lost our support. We mainly got some extra time for some exams, but that was about it.
It's not unusual for young people to lose their support when transitioning between schools. We think there needs to be a review of the mechanism for creating Education, Health and Care Plans, or ECHPs, to avoid situations like this. Shauna and Stephen have a lot of upsetting stories from their time at school, from bullying to being misunderstood to being punished for reasons they feel were unfair. It is clear that they still feel a strong sense of injustice about the way they were treated. But when I asked them whether their experiences from school have affected them since, Stephen took a very positive attitude.
After school, do you feel like there have been repercussions from having such a bad experience at school in terms of what you've done since then and looking for work? How do you think your experience has affected you?
I wouldn't say honestly it has, because the fact of now the people who used to bully me are very aware that I won't put up with that crap anymore, and I'm pretty strong-boned now. I will stick up for myself. And in that, I've actually become more of a confident person for it at the same time. So yes, it was a nasty experience, it was very bad, but at the same time, on the bonus side, it's made me stronger myself, because honestly, if that didn't have happened, I would have probably been quite still a nervous person and just kept myself to myself. I wouldn't have talked.
This is where the two twins' experiences start to differ. Things started to improve for Stephen once he left school and went to college. After struggling with a course in IT, he decided to do a more vocational course and did a level 1 and 2 qualification in light vehicle maintenance and repair. After deciding he'd like to try and work in security, he then did another course in door supervision. Shauna, on the other hand, struggled to cope with college, and things took a downward turn when she didn't manage to pass her course. During this time, Stephen and Shauna's mother moved to Weston-super-Mare. The twins initially moved with her, and Stephen continued with his vehicle maintenance course there. Shauna, however, missed Cornwall and told her mum she wanted to move back to Cornwall and live with her nan. In reality, Shauna tried moving in with a friend, which didn't work out. She had a difficult time moving from place to place, and things became worse when she ran into trouble with claiming her Employment Support Allowance, or ESA. ESA is a financial support benefit for people with a long-term illness or disability. Shauna-Louise has been put in the support group, which means she has been assessed as unable to work and is not expected to find a job.
Well, I know when I first went on ESA I had trouble, because they mucked up my payments and all, so I went like 2-3 months without money. So for those 2-3 months I was going food bank for my food, and that was last year. No, not last year, year before.
That must have been really tough.
Yeah, towards the end of that year I just literally kept living off food bank. Yeah, I'm glad I don't live off it anymore. It's actually, it gets tedious. I'm glad the way my life is now, but that middle point of leaving the family home to get to this point, it's like the middle part has been like the worst.
Shauna still finds the job centre intimidating and struggles with the idea that, while she is in the support group, she is not being reassessed for work. She also worries about losing her benefits, having gone through the experience of losing them once before.
Because of having all the evidence that I've gone through, all the different support and all, they actually ended up putting me on the support side because they can see it as going, well, this person's not ready for work. So the support side would mean that technically the way they say it is you don't have to work for life. It's support ones for life. You don't get reviewed. So you're on it. It's one of those. They don't actually check it really, which I don't understand. Because I don't know how they keep it up to date with you. I know you got to let them know, like, if there's change of circumstance and all, but it's a bit confusing. But since being on it, I haven't had any, like, letters through or anything saying, oh, I need to be re-reviewed or anything. Because as I've been told, you don't get re-reviewed. And then there was the difference that permitted work, it would have been that you could only do it for so long on work-related side. Or, no, you could do it on work-related side, but you couldn't at first assigned in support group. But now you can while in the support group. So even though they say, oh yeah, you're not fit for work, so you can't work, you could then still work as long as you're under those permitted hours, and then you still get an extra money. That's why I just get scared about the fact going, well, what if instead they muck up with trying to put it through as permitted work, and then my ESA gets taken away from me? Because I know my levels for anxiety and depression could possibly drop, and since I'm on a happier verge at the moment, I really want it to stay up.
As for Stephen, he needed support from his job coach Laura, as well as people from other organisations to receive ESA, because when he first applied for it, the job centre did not think that he needed it. Stephen was put in a work-related activity group of ESA, which means he is expected to actively look for work and carry out activities which will help him find paid employment. He will be reassessed in a year's time to see whether he still needs ESA and whether he is fit for work. Since being in the work-related activity group, however, Stephen has received support from the job centre to move towards work, and he is very positive about the support he has received through them, as well as from Laura.
Job centre's definitely been very supportive in the way they've helped me. Other parts of the Department for Work and Pensions haven't been so useful, where Laura, example, had to kind of, she got me a letter, kind of states how I actually am and stuff with my whole Asperger's and that, which kind of progressed them to put me onto ESA originally. But yeah, my local job centre, they've been wonderful at this, especially within my interviews that I've had to do with my work-related course.
In the last year, things have improved for both Shauna and Stephen. They live next door to one another, so they each have their own space and independence, but are there for each other if necessary. Shauna is receiving support for her mental health, which she says has improved enormously since opening up about her gender identity to her family. As for work, they are both still looking for employment, but their prospects are looking up.
I'm on, rather than being ESA support side, I'm on ESA work-related, which is a work-related activity group, which means I have to do certain work-related programs to be able to stay on my benefit and look for work while they review my claim. Within that, I'm doing the internship course that I'm on now to build up my skills and training, if you will.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel like that's helping you? Do you feel like you're kind of getting some
Definitely growing my skills, and is just builds me as a better person, really, I believe.
It is striking how different Stephen and Shauna's experiences have been when one is in the work-related activity group of ESA, the other in the support group. We believe more support should be available for people with learning disabilities in the support group to avoid them missing out on opportunities to get into work. When you talk to Stephen and Shauna about things they are passionate about, it is clear that they are both very skilled in some areas and have lots of qualities which would make them brilliant employees. For example, they know a huge amount about technology and have even constructed computers without blueprints. Shauna talked a bit about how they are learning to utilise their skills through their supported internship.
It's like when we came here to the internship first time, they got us to do a building a bridge activity. And basically they gave us the materials like foam board, straw, those fibre thingies, the wire with the foamy material, whatever it is on them, like white tack, sellotape. But I literally saw all of it there, so visualised that in my mind, and literally just put it together. So I saw what could go on the bottom space, what could be the structure to hold it out, see if I want next level, like what it would be like. And then literally as soon as I visualised it all, I literally said to the people I was working with, well, if we do this, this and this, we're going to build the base. Then we do this, we're going to build the side structures. So I already planned it out in my head. I had the instructions there.
Shauna explained that their ability to work things out in their heads hasn't always played to their favour. Shauna said she often failed maths tests when she was at school because she didn't need to write down her workings out. But through the supported internship, both twins are encouraged to develop their skills ready for the workplace and build their confidence at the same time. Shauna and Stephen are ambitious about work and they each have their own unique aspirations. While Shauna would like to work somewhere which supports LGBT rights and do something admin related, Stephen would like to work for the police. He is already trained in security. Both Stephen and Shauna agree that having a job which suits them would make a huge difference to their lives. Stephen feels ready to take on full-time work whenever he has the opportunity.
It'd be more independent, as in feeling that you're actually earning what money you got coming in, and it's just giving you more independence really, and in some aspect freedom, I suppose, because you're not stuck to somebody else who's having to pay you because you're stuck to certain guidelines. You're earning what you're bringing in, so you can actually pay the bills rather than somebody saying, oh, you meet these guidelines, here's the money, then you pay your bills.
Shauna is a little more apprehensive about taking on full-time work at the moment and would like reassurance that there will be something to fall back on if working doesn't work out for her.
To any near future, I don't see it as if I would want to do full-time. Part-time I'd probably handle, but it's one of those for me, I'd have to have a certainty of knowing that I wouldn't lose my benefits or anything. Knowing that there's the definite 100% certainty, but I would feel more like I've got more of a routine, feeling more like, okay, maybe even in the workplace I could be accepted for who I am, and actually doing something around that area like I really would want to do. So I know, like, well, really any type of job I would want to go in, preferably I know I would want to do something around that, like transgender or to do with LGBT, preferably. But I think it would be really good, as long as it's got the whole 100% there. As long as I know that's all backed up, like going, yeah, that'll still be fine, then I'm like, cool, go ahead, why not?
At United Response, we always work on the presumption that anyone who wants to work can work with the right support, whatever their ability. Shauna-Louise and Stephen are great examples of two people with the skills and aspirations to work, but challenges they have faced throughout their life, as well as a lack of support as they were growing up, has put them in a position of unemployment. Their story demonstrates a real need for government to make some key changes to help more people with learning disabilities into employment. This includes improving and expanding specialist employment support programmes, which can be extremely effective when delivered correctly. We also recommend a review of the mechanisms for creating education, care and health plans, which outline a child's care needs during school, and introduce a document which can follow on from this as a young person leaves education and begins to look for work. There are also key changes which could be made to the approach of job centres. It is vitally important that assessments for financial support and discussions over employment and health are held separately to avoid people like Shauna losing the support they need. We also recommend that people in the ESA support group are offered support to access employment rather than being written off as incapable of work. We hope by sharing Shauna and Stephen's story, we can raise awareness of the many individuals out there who can work and want to work but just need to be given the right opportunity and support to do so. To read more about our recommendations for closing the disability employment gap, please visit our website www.unitedresponse.org.uk.